Welcome viewers to our new topic, which is transmission electron microscopy. So why we are going for transmission electron microscopy when we already have SEM? So there are some difference between TM and SEM. So TM basically is an imaging technique, okay, whereas SEM is a mapping technique. It will map out the surface topography, morphology, okay. So in TM, the resolution of TM. So one of the important parameter in resolution is the wavelength of the radiation, okay, wavelength of the incident electron, okay. So that is one of the controlling parameter of resolution, okay. In SEM, like wavelength is independent, so resolution is independent of wavelength. So what we require in SEM is sufficient energy of the electron so that it can generate out secondary electron and backscattered electron. Okay, so those are used for mapping out the surface or topology or morphology, whatever it is. Okay, so that's the difference between T and SEM. So about SEM, we already have one like video. So the link is given in the description. You can watch that. Okay, so in this today's discussion, we will be like talking about our TM, which is basically some basic of TM, and then working principle, and then analysis detail. So analysis detail, we will like how to like index SED pattern of TM. So those things we will be discussing. Okay. Diffraction limited is whenever the wavelength of the light is comparable to the object or aperture, then diffraction start occurring. Okay, so we cannot see beyond what the wavelength of the light is. Okay. So the resolution limit is the smallest distance that can be resolved. Okay, so the you can see this Rayleigh criteria for resolution is given by this formula. So lambda upon mu sine beta. So all these are detailed. So it basically comes out to be this resolution comes out to be according to Rayleigh criteria comes out to be lambda by 2. So if you have wavelength around say 600 nanometer, so the resolution will be around 300 nanometer in ideal conditions. Okay, which doesn't happen. So, so you see, whenever two near space, like nearly placed, so particles are there, you cannot resolve them if you are using wavelength which is more than this distance, more than the distance between them. Okay. So if you have shorter wavelength, you can then resolve them. Okay. So if you want to see some small object, say lattice fringes, so say interplanar distances you want to see, or atomic positions you want to see, so then you must have light or incident radiation comparable to that particular distance. Okay, so then only you can see. So okay. So now in TM we can see imaging. TM can do imaging of a one particular like location in a sample, and for the same local region it will do diffraction also. So you can have simultaneous of the same region in real space imaging and reciprocal space diffraction pattern also. Okay, so that's the thing. So in TM what we do, we excite electrons to a higher voltage. So the wavelength of the electrons which is excited with energy which is like accelerated with energy E is given by this formula. Okay, roughly this formula is given. So as the energy of the accelerated electron is higher and higher, wavelength will be lower and lower. Okay, so we can achieve a lower wavelength, and then we can have a high resolution. So we can like then map out or see out the lattice fringes and the atomic interplanar distances we can see out clearly. Okay, so by using this, if we like increase the energy further and further, so the wavelength will be reduced further and further. So we can see even atomic places, but that's not the case, because resolution is one of the parameter. If this wavelength dependent is one of the parameter, not the complete. There are other phenomena also, other things also which control the resolution. Even if we have wavelength lower than the like whatever we are seeing, but we cannot resolve them because of other lensing system component. So we will see them. So if you see, we have this comparison. So optical, and then SEM, then TM. So SEM we are only accelerating up to 10 kilovolt, not further. Why? Because I already told you, because we require that particular energy of electrons which can generate out secondary electron and backscatter electron. That's what the required is here. That so we stop there. So we don't go further lower in the wavelength. Okay, in SEM case, whereas in TM case we can go further, because TM is basically an imaging technique. So we require as little wavelength as possible. So here the wavelength is 2 picometer. So this wavelength is 2 picometer. So then its resolution should be around 1 picometer by Rayleigh criteria, but that doesn't happen. So so as written here, the resolution in TEM is around 1 angstrom only. So that is due to some other parameter which are affecting the overall resolution. Okay, so you can see the other parameter which affect the resolution are wavelength of the radiation. Okay, first thing, that is from here, diffraction limit of the system, and the most important one is aberration of the lensing system. So once you have a lensing system, you will have electromagnetic lenses in case of TEM or SEM. So those lenses, how well they are like focusing, how well they are like collimating, all those things will be controlling the aberration in those lenses. Will control these, all these three controls limits the your resolution of that particular system. Okay, so in case of TM, we have 1 angstrom up to resolution up to 1 angstrom. That is basically limited by aberration of the lenses, because from wavelength it can go further down, resolution can go further down, but aberration doesn't allow us. So that's the case. Okay, so now let us move further. So in TM we can have diffraction imaging and imaging. So imaging, first we will see. So imaging, we can have bright and dark field images, and then HRTM. So bright field and dark field already like this is similar to optical microscope. So you can see the images like this. So this is the TM image of one particular sample. So you can see bright field image, and this is the dark field image. So depending upon whatever you want to see, you can use any of them. Okay, so this is basically what phenomena we have discussed, generating image, generating out of that. So we'll discuss about it in the next slide. So already this TM is already like quite resolved image. Then we have, why we have high resolution TM. So high resolution TM or HRTM is nothing but phase resolved image, so phase contrast image. Okay, so you see this is HRTM. So in a localized area, in this localized surface, whatever image we have in that localized area, what we are doing phase contrasting, and then we are generating out some information out of it, and that information is being depicted here, which is showing us the lattice fringes, and the interplanar distances are being shown. So you can see the interplanar distance here is 3.5 angstrom is being shown, or 0.35 nanometers is being shown. Interplanar distance is being shown. Okay, so we achieve high resolution by doing phase contrasting. So what is phase contrasting? So already we have the bright field image, already we have TM image, so that is highly resolved. In that image, what we will do phase contrasting. So what is that? We'll just see here. So if you have an incident light, and which is like not encountering any sample, there will no change in the input and the output side. Okay, if it is encountering some sample, then there may be changes of amplitude, and there may be changes of phase. So this phase change is there. You can see this change. This is the change the phase. Okay, so this is a so reading out the phase change or phase contrasting gives us some information about the whatever present inside the highly resolved image. So that phase contrasting allow us to achieve further resolution in the images. Okay, so that's the reason what we are achieving high resolution, or what is high resolution TM imaging is. Okay, and then scanning TM. So scanning TM is like to like a large area, to image out a further large area, we do scanning, raster scanning, and then this is scanning TM. So this mechanism is similar to like what raster scanning we do in SEM, that raster scanning, or even in AFM also we do raster scanning to map out a large area. So that's what it is done. So localized area transmission happen, and then image generate, and then next to that transmission happen and image generate. So that in that way we like do for a large area, and then generate out an image of a large area. So that is what the scanning TM. Okay, so you can see out the images. So this is a graphene sheet. So you can see somewhere wrinkles, somewhere more darker images. So somewhere like you can tell out that there is a thin layer, one layer, or there are multiple layers. So this is a scanning TM image of a graphene sheet. And then HRTM image, you can see high resolution TM image. So you can see lattice fringes. So there are two grains, B and C. So B is like hexagon and C is like linear. You can see of the lattice fringes. So both are like 0.22 nanometer interplanar distances, like that you can see. Okay, so this is what the application of TM is. So now what is basically happening in TM is basically you are having like electrons coming out. So electrons, like you are like accelerating the electrons, and then you are having objective lens, which is basically electromagnetic lens, which is collimating the images, collimating the electrons, and then you have an objective aperture, this big back focal plane. Okay, so so what is actually happening is of the same sample. Okay, so if you have seen the same sample of TM, so which is very tiny, which is very small, okay, of the order of in mm, or like it should be very thin and it should be very small. Okay, so thin index for electrons to transmit through it, so that a diffraction pattern can be generated, and imaging. So you can, so image plane is there, so the image is being formed here, and then this is the like back focal plane. So a diffraction pattern is being generated here. Okay, so depending upon your sample will be somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here. Okay, so depending upon where you have the objective aperture or where you have the electron diffraction selected area electron diffraction aperture, depending upon that you will get a magnified image of that particular thing. If you have objective aperture at the back focal plane, then this setup is there, which will give you the magnified image of that particular sample. Okay, so if you have this SAD pattern or SAD aperture at the image plane, you will get the magnified image of your diffraction pattern. So that's what it is containing both things simultaneously. Okay, so then this part is basically like magnifying part. So intermediate length, projector length is a magnifying part. Okay, so this is almost similar to your optical systems. TM is almost similar to optical system. So now you see this n lambda 2d sin theta. So Bragg, like for electron diffraction, this Bragg equation is there, n lambda 2d sin theta. Okay, so for TM we have a like electron wavelength is very small as compared to XRD. Okay, so what will happen when the wavelength is small? So lambda is small, that means sin theta should be small, so because d will remain same for the same sample, d will not change. So if you see the setup, this is your sample, and then this is your plane, imaging plane. Okay, so what is happening, this L will be fixed for a given TM system, and then this 2 theta will be vary. So this next, like R is the distance between the diffraction pattern points. Okay, diffraction pattern, one here, another here. So this is the R. Okay, so you can see from this triangle, this you can generate out 2 theta is equal to R by L, and then you put this theta value into this n lambda equal to d sin theta, you will get the this equation RD is equal to lambda L. So that's what this equation we will utilize to index our d by ring or d by points. Okay, so you see, if it is a grain, single grain, if you have a single grain, so then the diffraction pattern will look like this, well spaced diffraction point you will get. Diffraction pattern will be like uniformly spaced. Okay, if you have like 2 grains, then you can see you are getting this kind of diffraction pattern. If you have multiple grains, or multiple grains will be like, or you have like it is a polycrystalline, you will get a continuous d by rings. Okay, so you can see if it is perfectly crystalline, the diffraction pattern is a regular array of dots. You can see if there are multiple grains, then you can see there are like diffraction pattern is discrete spot, each lying on d by ring, and if you have polycrystalline material, then a continuous d by ring is formed, and then if you have amorphous, then there's a hazy kind of diffraction pattern you will get. Okay, so let us see. So this is a perfect crystalline material, you can see, and then this is the multicrystalline, and then this is a polycrystalline, and then this is the amorphous. So you can see. So now how do we like index these rings, index these points? So let us first go for the rings. How do we index rings? So this, you can stop here and you can read the steps. I will just solve an example for you. So this is given to us, this pattern, SAD pattern is given us, and we have to like index it. So what we'll do first, we will just measure the radius R1, R2, R3, and this is the R4. Okay, so R4 radius we will measure. So you can take a millimeter or centimeter, whatever you want to take. What we require here is we want to find ratio of R1 to R2, ratio of R1 to R3, like that. So here we have already calculated 2R1, 2R2, the diameter we have calculated out. This is the distance which we are calculating. And then what we have did, we have find the ratio. So R1, so we divide by this number same, so 1. Okay, then R1 divided by R2, so this number. R1 divided by R3, this number. Like that we have generated this ratio. Okay, now it is given the pattern is FCC or BCC pattern. So if it is FCC, first take FCC. If it is FCC, so by selection rule. So you can see our XRD video where for selection rules. So in selection rules, is FCC if it is this. it will have these particular allowed Miller indices. So FCC will have either only even or all odd indices. So either all even or all odd. Okay. So that's what the FCC we have like seen here, and then what we have calculated is under root h square plus k square plus l square. This value we have calculated for 111, 200. So they should be either all even or all odd. Okay, so those numbers we have calculated. This under root h square plus k square value we have calculated, and then we have divided by this number itself. And then so 1 here, this number divided by 2 divided by this number, so here 2 this number divided by this number, so this here. So now you can see this number is, these ratios are similar to these ratios. So we can say that this is FCC with indices, the indices like 111 correspond to R1, 200 correspond to R2, 222 correspond to R3, and 311 correspond to R4. So that way we have index these rings. Okay. Suppose if you have a crystalline material, so if you have a crystalline diffusion pattern, then how will you index these points? So you can go through this write up, or you can just I have solved one for you. So here we have this particular diffusion pattern. How do we index it? So first you take one of them as a origin point. So 0, 0, 0 you can assign to the origin point. Okay, and then from there any two you choose. So you have chosen the this one, and you have chosen this one. Okay, and then angle also you have chosen. So the angle is 90 degree, and the radius you have find it out. Now the ratio of the radius R1 to R2 you can find out, and it is coming out to be R1 to R2 ratio is coming out to be 1.69. Okay, so 1.69 is the ratio is coming out, and angle 90 degree is coming out. Okay, and this origin one is 0, 0, 0 Miller index you already defined. Okay, now what you have to do is FCC structure diffusion pattern is shown below, and you have to like index all. So already it is given us that it is FCC structure. So FCC structure by selection rule we already know that it will have either all odd or all even planes indices. Okay, so what we will do, we will generate our table. So H11 H1 K1 L1 we will write 111 200 220 31 all the possible Miller indices we will write for it, all the corresponding FCC Miller indices we have written following the selection rule. And then what we have did is we have find under root h square plus k square plus s square value. So 111 like under root 3 we have this is okay. So 2, so this is 2. So like that we have find these values. Okay, once we have generated this table, then what we have did is we have divided by this complete column by the first one corresponding to H11 indices. First one you have divided. So 1.7 divided by 1.733 all like this number. So 1, and then this we have generated out this column. Okay, by a division of this number to this column. Okay, so this is being generated, and then what we have did, we have like for second what we have generated is we have divided this column by 2, so corresponding to 200. Okay, so divided by 2 you will get this number. So similarly we have generated other like divided by 220, so divided by 228, so that you can see, you can understand that we have generated this way. Okay, now if our first plane is 111 if we have taken, and the ratio is we have calculated the ratio here is R1 to R2 ratio is 1.69. okay, and the angle is 90 degree. So this plane, whatever the plane this should be, they should have a 90 degree angle. Okay, and then you can see, so 169 is nearby, so you can find that 163 is nearby, that 166 these three red marks are nearby to 169. okay, so now if we see these two columns, so 222 and 311, so they are not 90 degree to each other, so this is eliminated. Whereas 220 and 111 they are 90 degree to each other. So these, so our like we can like index one of the column, index one of the column, like you can see here, this is 000, so other one is 111, and the other one we can index 220. okay, and we have like suitably marked so that they frame a 90 degree angle. okay, 90 degree angle should be there. Then for this middle one we can do a vector summing. So this vector summing we can do, and then we can find out the like indexing here. So -1 to 2, so you can find 1. So directly, because this is 90 degrees, so that's why we can directly vector sum it. Otherwise we will use formula, and then you can like define the vector like indexing for this particular deficient point. Okay, and then the other point will be, say this is 2 to 0, so other will be opposite to it, so minus 2 to 0, minus 2 minus 2 0. Similarly, we have index all other. So this is this in this way you can index out your crystalline SAD pattern. Okay, so I think you understood, you got some information from this topic. So if you have some doubt, you please ask.